All right, today we are taking a wild 600-year ride through Indian history. It's this incredible story of conquest, of chaos, and surprisingly of creation, a time when entire empires rose from nothing and then crumbled, completely redrawing the map of the subcontinent.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start in the turbulent era of the sultans. Then we'll journey south to see how new powers began to pop up. From there, we'll witness the dawn of the mighty Mughal dynasty, explore its own internal conflicts, and finally, we'll look at the powerful forces of resistance that dared to challenge imperial rule. And just to get a handle on the sheer scale of what we're talking about, check out this timeline. We are kicking things off way back in the 13th century with the Delhi Sultanate, and we're going all the way to the turn of the 18th. You can see all the major turning points, the key battles, and even the birth of new communities along the way.
So, where does our story begin? Well, it starts with the Delhi Sultanate. Now, this was a period defined by this relentless drive to expand, to conquer more territory. But at the same time, it was just riddled with political instability and chaos.
Okay, so you're going to hear this word, sultanate, a lot. What is it exactly? Well, it's pretty simple. It's just the name for a territory that was ruled by a sultan, which was a title that some Muslim rulers chose to use during this time.
I mean, you can literally see the history of conquest from this era carved right into the stone. Take the Quwwatul Islam Mosque in Delhi. There's an inscription on it that states, clear as day, that it was built using materials from 27 Hindu and Jain temples that had been destroyed. The history is right there in the walls.
And you know, a lot of this instability, it came right from the top. Let's talk about a ruler named Muhammad bin Tughlaq. This guy was full of grand ideas that were, frankly, disastrous. He once forced the entire population to move the capital over 1,000 kilometers away, only to change his mind and move it back a few years later. Then he tried to introduce a new kind of token money, which just led to tons of counterfeiting and basically tanked the economy.
So with all this chaos on the inside, the Sultanate was a sitting duck. And that weakness led to a completely devastating invasion by the Central Asian conqueror, Timur. You don't have to guess his motives. His own words are chillingly clear. He left Delhi in absolute ruins, and its people were either slaughtered or enslaved. So, with the Sultanate in the north starting to crumble, this huge power vacuum opens up. And what happens when there's a vacuum? Something new rushes in to fill it. In this case, it was formidable new empires in the south, completely shifting the subcontinent's center of gravity. And boom! Out of this, in the 14th century, the Vijayanagara Empire rises up as this major new force. Just look at these incredible ruins of its capital, Hampi. This place became a symbol of a whole new kind of southern power and prosperity. I mean, people who visited from other parts of the world were just blown away. There was this one Portuguese traveler in the 16th century, Domingo Paes, and he wrote that the city was as big as Rome and, quote, the best provided city in the world. Can you imagine seeing that? Okay, so while all this is happening in the south, let's head back north. The Delhi Sultanate? It's really on its last legs now. It's shrinking, it's weak, and it's about to get completely wiped off the map by a new, formidable power coming down from Central Asia, the Mughals. And the real turning point, the game changer, came in 1526 at the First Battle of Panipat. A challenger from Central Asia, named Babur, shows up with military tech they've never really seen before. We're talking gunpowder, field artillery, cannons. It just completely shatters the Sultan's army. And with that single victory, the Mughal Empire is born.
And Babur himself is such a fascinating figure, just a man of wild contrasts. On one hand, you read his memoirs, the Baburnama, and you see this incredibly cultured man, someone with a deep love for poetry and nature. But on the other hand, he was an absolutely ruthless conqueror. I mean, he himself wrote about building towers of skulls from his defeated enemies. It's hard to square those two sides of it. Now, fast forward to his grandson, Akbar. He takes a totally different approach to running the empire. Instead of relying only on brute force, he comes up with this genius political strategy. He forms marriage alliances with powerful kingdoms. He welcomes regional leaders right into his government. And crucially, he gets rid of this discriminatory tax on non-Muslims called the jizya. See what he's doing? He's not just conquering land, he's building a multi-ethnic, multi-religious state bound by loyalty, not just fear. His whole philosophy of sulhi-kul, or peace with all, was just revolutionary for the time. But this policy of tolerance, this golden age, it wasn't going to last.
The entire direction of the Mughal Empire is about to take a hard turn, thanks to two of its most famous rulers, who could not have been more different from each other: Akbar and his great-grandson, Aurangzeb.
And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. Think about it. Akbar gets rid of the jizya tax and hosts these amazing dialogues between different faiths. Aurangzeb brings it right back. Akbar's court is this vibrant hub for the arts. Aurangzeb bans music at his. But the biggest deal? Aurangzeb completely reversed that policy of tolerance, even ordering the demolition of non-Muslim temples and schools. He was basically tearing down the very foundations of unity his great-grandfather had so carefully built.
Now here's the paradox. Under Aurangzeb, the empire actually grew to its biggest size ever. But all those endless military campaigns he fought to expand it cost a fortune, draining the treasury dry. And at the same time, his religious policies were creating deep resentment all across his vast kingdom.
So you can't just stretch an empire that thin and alienate that many people without consequences. All this imperial overreach and these divisive policies, they didn't go unanswered. Instead, they ignited these fierce pockets of resistance all across the subcontinent, and this is what would really start to chip away at Mughal power.
Way out in the northeast, for example, you had the Ahom kingdom, and they were a serious problem for the Mughals. They knew the terrain inside and out, so they used guerrilla warfare to their advantage. Plus, they had this unique pike system where citizens owed mandatory service to the state, which gave them a huge standing army. And it worked. They handed the Mughals a decisive defeat at the Battle of Sarahat in 1671.
Over in the Punjab region, resistance was sparked by a really brutal act. After Aurangzeb ordered the public execution of the 9th Sikh guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur, his son, Guru Gobind Singh, transformed the Sikh community into a powerful force for self-defense.
He did this by establishing the Khalsa. Now, this wasn't just an army. It was a disciplined martial brotherhood. It was created with this explicit commitment to fighting for justice, for equality, and for the right to defend the faith against oppression.
So when you look back at this whole 600-year saga, yeah, it was defined by constant warfare and political breakdown, but it was also a time of incredible cultural and artistic creation. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? In the face of all that instability, how do societies not only survive, but find ways to be resilient and to create something new and lasting?